Calm. So we have a few questions, yeah, to answer. And these are a mixture. So people have sent in questions. People have sent in like emails in the past. So I've gathered all the questions, or some, not all, because they're questions from emails, questions from dilemmas, and I've tried to just get the headline of those questions. Then we'll just try and answer those questions as well as we can.
Okay, cool.
Even though I have these questions, I haven't actually thought about them properly.
Okay.
And as we always say as well, listen, the answers we give now are because we're thinking on the spot.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we always try to give an informed answer, but you get me, bear with us as well, innit? Because it's on the spot. Cool. So the first question, and I feel like we've answered this. We had an episode on this time ago, but can I date someone from a different denomination?
I think it just depends on which denomination for me, because some denominations have fundamental
off limits. Certain denominations are off limits.
Not even necessarily that, just like some of them have some real, like, there's a spectrum in it, essentially, in it. And like two opposite sides of the spectrum, you're asking for trouble in it.
Yeah.
Like just in terms, I feel like sometimes, organising weddings, all that kind of stuff, they all come with it comes with its hassle anyway. Do you get? To add in onto that and adding more into it, it's just a very hard, man.
Yeah, you can also be unequally yoked like that as well.
Yeah,
I mean?
Exactly.
So, like you said, in terms of certain fundamental differences, I think find out what the actual difference is. Because for me, for example, there's bare I don't know the difference. I couldn't tell you, this means this, this means that. I know, for example, like certain denominations, they don't believe in the Holy Spirit or something like that. Certain, they don't believe in prophecy and things like that.
Yeah.
To get down
Which
to
is
like
crazy
the
when you think about it.
bro, I don't get the rationale for it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's biblical, innit? But get down to the fundamental differences between the denominations, innit? And then find out if that's something that is going to be a deal breaker for you. You know what I mean?
I agree still. I think the denomination thing, what's so funny is that there's certain sub-sections of Christianity that people call denominations.
But they're not in it.
I would just, and that's the thing, I don't even know if they are, but I would not consider them Christianity. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I see them as you are your own people just because of how far it is from the Bible, which is so funny. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think the answer to that for me is probably yes. No, sorry.
What's the actual question, by the way?
Can I date someone from a different denomination?
Oh, okay.
So the answer for me is you can, but fam, query what you both
it's like
believe.
Pentecostal versus Baptist, for example, and what's like?
I don't think.
Like, what are the differences?
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, you need to understand that.
Like, that one is a lot more straightforward. I feel like, in terms of a lot of your beliefs are gonna align essentially. Like,
and that's the thing though. You if you're and that's why it's about more so what you believe. It's what you believe in it. So it's not like.
Remember we used to always say case by case.
Case by case,
for real,
case by, and listen, you start bringing that luck as well before.
It's true, still.
Fam, it's case by case
It's
still.
true.
Yeah.
Because there's other
more
fundamental
generally,
things you don't believe in.
More generally, try and
Get
stay
into
where
the-
you're. You know what it is as well? It's like how you've grown up as well. If you've grown up in a family church as well, it makes more sense. Even though it's kind of brazy. Like you're not trying to. You're not trying to like be with someone that you've grown up with, kind of vibe. Which
Fam,
is
certain people, they want you.
What's
fam?
They want you still.
What's so funny?
Died for it.
What's so funny about that? I saw someone like talk about that one time, just about certain churches now. It's like the pastors might even
Push.
like, encourage you go with someone from the church, and they might try to dissuade you from going outside of the church.
Yeah, it's
like,
just because
for looking.
Again, we can talk about equally yoked and that, but do you know what it is as well?
But you got to be careful with that though. I feel like that's how people start building.
Because people grow up as well. People grow up and the stuff that they've learnt in the same place that you've been watered as well. They can rebel against it or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden start thinking in a way that doesn't align with anything really.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
tricky one.
Calm. So our answer for that is
Generally,
Generally,
yes.
But get into the
it's case by
nitty-gritty.
case and try and understand what you both believe.
generally yes, where the beliefs in terms of the belief systems in the denominations are aligned. Or like let's say like 90% aligned.
Yeah, the fundamentals.
Do you get what I'm just saying? Exactly, the fundamentals.
Yeah.
But if anything other than that becomes a bit tricky.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. This one, I'll try and add context to it, but I might be I might be adding context that they didn't mean in it. But so they said, is it bad if it's not clear to my friends that I'm a born again Christian?
A little bit.
Hilarious. I didn't even need to add no context.
Yeah, like how? Yeah, I mean, I don't get how your friends could not know
Do you know
that.
what it is? Yeah, it's kind of like again, it's like I think we've spoken about this recently, yeah, and it's kind of like an old school teaching, even like born again, being set apart, and what it actually means and why we move different out of it. Do you get? It's not necessarily obviously something that's been preached more recently, but when we spoke about it at the time, it wasn't something that had been preached in a while, innit?
Yeah.
And I feel like, bro, by virtue you are a Christian, like you are born again.
Yeah.
And by virtue you are born again, you think and do things differently. From that alone, you'll be set apart, and it will be obvious. Yeah.
So do you think that basically, if you're Christian,
By your fruits,
like it should be very clear to everyone?
Especially
I think
friends as well.
do you know what it is? I think our whole brand, yeah, is based on like, listen, you can be a Christian and still be like, quote unquote normal, yeah. But at the same time, just out of us being normal does not mean that people don't know that we're Christians.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, they know, they know it is very, very clear that we are Christians.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
And he's talking about friends, let alone somebody somebody that I've met and have a conversation with. You're probably gonna know I'm a Christian because some way, like, you get what I mean? It could easily come up.
Bro, I heard that still.
I was doing a bit of words for you. I was gonna say some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Oh, fam, I hear it.
That's actually bare advanced of the like best luck words. I hear it still.
But yeah, like it should definitely, especially friends. Like what's the context?
I don't know, but I reckon, and this is why I said I'm going to add context. I reckon it's about like you're around your brethren, and it's like there probably isn't that clear identifier that I'm a Christian, and that's not to say you need to put on your head naturally. And I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier as well. Yeah, fam, I'm not trying. Well, I was going to say I'm not trying to show you I'm a Christian.
Yeah. No,
but
it's not.
Like,
I know what you're trying to say.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Understand? It's like I'm living.
But I am. I'm living.
But I am. Do you get me?
And please don't say I'm living my truth.
I'm living the truth.
Okay, thank you.
Do you get me?
I'm living my truth. It's actually so jarring.
Like you won't show up like with a Bible.
Yeah.
For example. Do you know what I mean? Because you just wouldn't.
Just because I don't, but I'm living the truth, and it's good news. So I do want you to know about it. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not doing things
and
just
it does
so you
inform
see.
my decisions. So when I speak about my thought process, all of these different things, it's all gonna come out.
Yeah. All the and I think because this question says friends, that's like the key thing. Because if you said work, I say that's a bit different.
Yeah,
like,
do you get me?
Because normally work kind of, they almost do not create a space for those type of conversations. They don't. They even frown upon you speaking about like sport teams that you support. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
And it depends on your relationship with them as well. More time at work, generally, bro, you're not
Arm's
really
length.
like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of arm's length that goes on there.
Yeah.
So
I think especially in our culture, in our black culture, because I think obviously in different cultures, it's different in terms of how they treat work and stuff. But I think also I think there's an age element in it as well. You know, I think when you're younger and that you care more about what other people think. I feel when you get older and like you actually start to come into your own and all that kind of stuff, you actually care less what people think. So I feel because of that, it's easier to just wear your Christianity.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Would you say for you, like, it was clear, like school days and stuff like that, you was Christian?
So it's
your brethren.
Remember that story I used to tell?
But everyone was the same. Not in the room. Everyone was the same type of Christian. In that, like, we all, because we go to like a black school, everyone's like, fam, everyone's actually Christian. You know what I'm trying to say? So I always used to say, at lunchtime, we're fighting. But if RE is the next period,
you're also fighting.
We're all answering questions. Like,
debating.
Fam, there was a time we done scrambled RE. Like, fam, it was actually jokes, but we were all those type of, do you get me? So it wasn't even difficult to,
when did it become difficult at a point though? So like, for example, like were there any moments whereby it was like, nah, I'm not doing that?
What, because of people?
No, as in like because of your Christianity. So obviously you was like, everybody's like Christian, innit? A certain type of Christian or whatever.
Yeah.
But was there any moments for you whereby it was like, nah, I'm not doing that? Then it was like, oh, he's that sort of Christian.
Do you know what's so mad, and it probably doesn't apply, but so first, I think the thing about me, to be honest, is that I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm not influenced, because everyone can be influenced. But when it came to the Christian, I was like, fam, that's what I am. Like, if you ask someone, they'll be like, yeah, it's Christian. Like, even within my friendship group, and that was for good and bad reasons, by the way. In that, like, they know I'm a Christian, but I'm just about, and it doesn't necessarily take away, because if something happened to them, they know that he's still he's still about. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But then I feel like there was one funny story, and I think I was in uni, I was in first year, and there was a massive party happening, like massive, bro. Everyone was getting, and I remember I was praying one day, just randomly I was praying, and then God spoke to me just about, like, don't go. Yeah. And bro, when I say, as in at that time, it was like, bro, it was the biggest party. It was the biggest party that there, bro. It was the biggest party that there was, bro. Like, as in,
what was it?
I can't remember the name. I'll remember the name still.
Did I go?
You might, bro. It weren't in thing. It weren't in uni. It was, we had to travel to another. Like, do you get me?
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it. No,
I didn't go.
It weren't Freshers Jam, was it?
Oh, so if it was,
I think it was. You know,
like uni house or something.
Yeah, one of those anyway.
That's so funny.
And I remember,
that's so old school,
bro. Listen,
that's so
when I
old
say
school.
There's a man thing that there's always a man thing.
All my brethren,
Bro,
it's like everyone rolled 20 man deep, 25 man. Like, it was.
It was a coach, innit?
It was massive. Everyone's getting. I remember God was like, don't go, and my brethren are calling me like, yo, like,
yeah,
like okay, and you know, in the build up to these things. The build up to these things, everyone's phoning each other like, no, you need different. Like, oh, like, what are you wearing there? Like, all the man said they're wearing black. You get me? Like, everyone's like, make sure you wear black, you know. Like, make sure you wear black. And these times, when they say
wearing white and that,
that's
crazy.
So like, when they say make sure you wear black, I wasn't even saying them times I'm not going. Imagine I told them like a day before that I'm not coming, just because I didn't want the whole, like, why you coming, convincing me thing, innit? And I think at that point I was honest. I was like, oh, you know what? Well, I was honest to some. I was like, you know what, man? I just don't really feel that I prayed. I just don't really feel blah blah blah. And to some of them, they must have been thinking, bro, are you like,
you're right?
Like, you're right, kind of thing. Do you get me? Obviously, some of them I told that they were Christians, so they understood. But I say that time for me, was like, it's so dumb, innit? Because people might be listening and be like, it's just a party, like, bro, like that. But at that time,
fam, that was it, bro.
I'm in first year, bro. I'm in first year of uni, fam. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's a motive and all that. So that time for me is probably when, I won't say it was hard, but it was like an identifier.
I remember when you had to be a bit
when
more.
I had to be a bit more, I'm not getting. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I didn't really understand it because in other parties in uni, I didn't feel that. You get me? I was going. But this one, like the biggest one, but I was just like, you know what, fair play. And I listened to God, I just didn't go.
I hear it gets like that still.
Yeah.
It gets like that.
I used to do the thing where obviously I used to go bare like church events and stuff like that, innit? So there'll be times where everyone's going somewhere. I was like, oh, no, I'm going to church. Yeah. There'll be times where all of these things will happen. And it's so funny, because my red, like, then when it got to like college year, like, I just stopped telling people where I was going. I would just bust out. I'd be like, oh, yeah, you lot got a car or whatever, innit? And like, one of my brothers was like, oh yeah, like he knew, like, he could tell when I was like leaving to go to church and these things, innit? And all that kind of stuff, innit? And it's so funny, yeah, because there were times in that I wasn't even going to church, to be honest. But, and I remember one time, yeah, like, see me, I love busting joke, innit? And I know how to bust joke that, like, is overpowering, innit? Do you get? So I normally do that, and we know, like, this is how we've grown up, innit, or whatever, innit? But this day, I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm never gonna get involved in it. It's like crew jokes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna get involved or whatever, innit? And then obviously, like, the way I'm saying it, yeah, like, it's obvious I'm saying that, like, I'm not doing it because, like, not because I'm a Christian, innit?
I know,
but it's
I
more
remember,
because,
I
like,
say,
bro, my brother was like, fam, like, you always make sure good, like, you getting too deep at this. What's busting up? Dude, at the time, yeah, I was like, at the time, I wasn't even busting up. I was like, fam, what the flip are you talking about? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? And then later on, he killed, and that's when he was saying to me, to be fair, I clocked when you're leaving the man and when you're going to church and these things and X, Y, Z and boom, boom, boom. So I think it's always been a thing that people have known, innit, about man, innit? You get? But then I think it's one of those things where people will only take it as seriously as I'm seeing
that's true,
taking it.
That's true still.
And where, again, on the other side of the spectrum, getting involved in a lot of rubbish, a lot of bad stuff, like, it would have seemed like there's validity to what he's saying, innit?
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
the outside looking in terms of like you only bring in church when you're in too deep. Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
It's kind of like, for example, imagine having like a peak road beef or whatever it is, and be like, nah, turning, you know what they say, but bear man turn Christian, bear man turn X, Y, Z, and that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that happened, but I'm saying it's the same sort of thing essentially is what he's trying to say basically, innit? But yeah, so I think they knew, like to a certain degree, but they only took it as seriously as I was.
you took it.
What's so funny? That reminds me of a story, and I was so annoyed. Yeah, obviously I can laugh about it now, but basically, imagine I used to go cell church on Fridays, but obviously there was a big gap between school finishing and cell church, innit? So I'll just be with my brethren. Obviously, that Friday now there was a particular beef happening, and all the men that were getting to that beef, to link up. So I had my auntie's house, but I was wearing my school uniform, innit? So I was like, I'm gonna go and change. Like I had black hoodie, I was gonna go and change and then roll back in it.
Yeah.
So as I've gone to change, they've gone there, I've gone to change, and I've met them there. But basically, everything's already kicked off.
You missed it,
I basically missed it, innit? My brother was like, fam, like, you trying to lie about you going to change, basically, innit? Like, you didn't want to get involved. Fam, I was so angry. I was so angry he said that, that.
It's so funny, I'll be the brethren that say that.
Bro,
I used to hate all that kind of stuff. Like, when I felt like someone had made something up and you come back bare late.
I was so angry.
All these things happen, man.
Bro, I was so angry he said that still. So much so that I think 2 weeks later, we had a fight. And I made it seem like it was something else.
I feel you.
I made it seem like it was something else that was called to fight. But I was holding on to it. You know, in front of the man, he started saying that kind of stuff. You know, back there was like no sliders.
Hey, the slider thing was peak.
No, you didn't back it.
Hey, no sliders.
You didn't back it. Sliders, bro. That was peak.
It was silly. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But yeah, your friend should definitely know still.
Your friend should know.
Your friend should know. I don't know how they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your friend should know still. And if they don't know, then
you need to speak up.
It is a problem. It's so
magic
because like I feel like even saying that is like something that people won't necessarily expect us to say just because of this whole like normal Christian vibe, or normal person, but it's a Christian vibe, which is I hope people don't get that misconstrued. I feel like even like I don't like leading with anything kind of like this is the kind of podcast we are or X, Y, Z, because it's just like,
I know what you mean,
we are who we are, man. Do you get what I'm saying? Like we're Christians first because that literally is who we are first.
Yeah.
We're human second. Do you get?
Facts still. All right, calm. Next one, next one is it bad to celebrate Eid with my Muslim friends and family?
See this one, so funny. He was getting onto my brethren the other day in a group chat because like he's bare like on people saying like Eid Mubarak to him, innit? But like one of Capes, he done like a search in it like of his name, and Merry Christmas. And there was no results. So, do you know what it is? Do you know how funny it is to even think like that? To be like, alright, cool, let me check.
You screenshot it, put it in the chat.
Screenshot both of them and put them in the chat, fam.
That is jokes.
Actually jokes. Do you know what it is as well? I think when I was younger, I was definitely more opposed to it, innit? Because it was kind of like, it's so mad. I had a conversation with my Muslim brethren today about literally this, what I'm saying now, which is kind of like, when they talk about Allah, for example, it means God. So there's a way that because I was like, like with us, even though, so I was like, Arabic predates Islam, or like the language that you guys speak here,
predates
the Quran,
the religion.
Predates the religion, innit? And again, even though that's the same with English, and Christianity, and obviously like Aramaic and all that kind of stuff, the thing is, how you looked at each other and then looked away is crazy.
Fam, I just look.
My foot's been here throughout.
If I said something, you're gonna say I'm making a big song and dance. So
my foot's been here throughout.
You know what it is? Yours is actually moving.
No, but mine's been here throughout.
Yeah, but
and it always is.
It's kind of like not like I'm actually on my side. You know what I mean? Like,
but mine was there before.
I'm actually on my side.
Nah, being on his side. But also, he's always been there. So it's like validity on both sides, isn't it?
Like this is it. But I didn't say nothing.
Fair enough.
I didn't say nothing, man. Look.
But yeah, so
good.
Just trying to do the original thing. You know people like say which was like so flipping what?
Yeah, like sick.
Okay.
But sorry. Forgot where I was at. But Yes, I was like, raw, like there's no, so even though like English, which isn't a language, obviously, which, the Bible is written in, or whatever, you can call it Aramaic, whatever you want to call it. The fact that it's been translated to English, it predates the English language, but there is specific names for God.
Yeah.
Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
Jehovah, Yahweh, Yeshua, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, there's specific names. You get, but with Islam, one of the things that you guys are always saying is that, Allah means God, innit?
Mm-hmm.
So saying like alaikum salam or something like that to someone is, or like, it's like saying shalom, for example, shalom, like as in peace. Like, it's kind of like, it's a generic thing to say to people. So even Christians in the Middle East, that's how they greet each other. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And they're not saying it because they subscribe to Islam or they're trying to be courteous to
it's just a greeting,
their Muslim counterparts, but it's more, it's literally a greeting, and it's literally them saying like, for their Christian God, essentially, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Have you heard, someone from the north of Nigeria?
I have still.
Remember Christian pray?
When we went to see Uncle?
And
he prayed. And
Bro.
he was saying Allah for God. He was praying in Hausa.
Yeah.
So then there's like, and it's kind of mad because like, so I was like to him, what's the distinctive name for Allah, essentially, innit? And it's mad because I'm saying Allah and I'm just trying to say God, innit? But he's doing the whole thing of like, well, God is God, innit, basically, innit? But I think they've got something where they're like, I'm not even gonna start saying all of these things, innit? But it's like Allah, something to Allah, basically, innit? And it's kind of like, but again, and I was like to him, but rah, like, is that like just saying Lord of Lords again, though? It's still quite generic, innit? But yeah, anyway, back to the question, I kind of say all of that to say that because of that, it kind of makes it, sorry, just repeat the question one more time, sir.
I think it was, is it bad for me to celebrate Eid with my Muslim family and friends?
I think because of things like that, there's this kind of nuance in terms of like the way Muslims treat Christmas, and let's say the majority of Western Muslims, is that they will celebrate Christmas, even though they're not supposed to. And it's become more of a thing as we've got older that, no, we're not celebrating Christmas. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I think because of that, they're trying to make Eid the same kind of thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of like, cool, we fasted or whatever, we're just having a celebration. It's just going to be bare food and that. Just come through in it. Like, it's calm in it. Like, it's a family celebration. It's that kind of thing in it. You get me being real. Like, for me, with everything that's been said in terms of like, when they say God, like, and all that kind of stuff, and all the whole thing of like making this like a family celebration, all that kind of stuff, even with all of that being said, I'm still not comfortable celebrating Eid or anything like that. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I know a bus joke about, like, if your brethren prepared iftar or whatever, you can indulge in. And the truth is, bro, let me put it to you like this, I had brethren that go white garment church, innit? And they do like
harvest.
And like one time they brought back food, and this is before I was naive to it. I didn't even know about it and all that kind of stuff. But just because of the whole vibe of like harvest isn't something I'm into or something I do, I just didn't eat the food, fam. Do you get what I'm saying? I was going to, like, and I was looking forward to. And one of my brothers was like, "Nah, like that's a specific thing, innit?" And I was like, "I swear, I didn't know at the time, innit?" And once he told me, I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? Fair enough. Like, I'm not." And the thing is, it's not like I felt mad uncomfortable. It's just that I just didn't feel like eating it anymore. Do you get? So I just don't really. And it's not a hard and fast rule, innit? It's not like I will never. Do you know what I mean? But more time, I wouldn't indulge, basically, innit?
Yeah. Fair enough. I think when it's family as well, like they know where you stand, innit? Just in terms of like your Christianity. So it's not a thing whereby it's like you going to a family member's house, for example, on Eid, you're doing something that's deviating from like what you actually believe in.
When it's family, it's obviously different, innit? I'm just talking about like a friend, for example.
They say friends and family, innit?
Yeah, friends and family.
Yeah. With like, it's like they get it. You know what I mean? So you're not doing anything per se, innit? I guess it's just like a respectful thing, innit? I don't really necessarily, with things like this, I don't have any like mad
Strong
viewpoint on it or anything like that. I'd say go with your convictions, innit? Really, because I don't think you, for example, going to a family member's house on Eid or something like that, or saying happy Eid to somebody, a family member or a friend, I don't see what that. I don't like.
What if it was like, for example, yeah, let's like leave Islam to the side for 1 second, yeah. What if it was like some sort of like, because
Like
I already know the answer to this, innit?
Yeah.
But like traditionalists, do you get, or pagans, like
it's just different, and I couldn't really tell you why it's different, innit? But it's just a bit different.
Fair enough.
I couldn't really tell you why.
It's still part of your family, innit?
Yeah.
You know, like, bro, like we've probably all got family members back home in the village that are still on certain things. Like, it's just their way of life.
It's funny. Just to answer that question, he asked about why it's different, yeah. And because I had a conversation time ago about this with someone, and I was like, you know what it is? Because there's a difference between an idol and like an evil spirit. Like, there's a difference between, and the Bible differentiates between like idol worship and witchcraft. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
What's the difference?
Because idol worship, yeah, you have made something a god. Like, you've attributed the attributes of God to a thing. Whereas witchcraft is a power in itself. Like, that doesn't come from God.
Do they interlink though?
I think they interlink.
In what sense?
So no. Wouldn't some witchcraft involve some sort of?
No, some might.
Yeah,
right?
I think
some might, but the Bible differentiates here clearly about an idol. And so when the Bible talks about idols, it talks about idols in a particular context. It doesn't actually talk about, if it's talking about witchcraft, it's talking about evil spirits. It doesn't talk about idols.
But to be fair, what I think it does, I think it lists, like incursions or whatever it is, like it lists certain things in idolatry and witchcraft are listed separately.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the time it's spoken about with the overarching umbrella of idolatry, because witchcraft is idolatry.
Of course,
as well, innit?
because you can make that a idol, like, definitely.
But more time, what you're tapping into are idols as well. Like,
I don't think you're tapping into like an evil spirit
which you've
attributing
exactly,
God
which makes it an
elements
idol.
to.
Exactly.
Do you get me? However, you could just, because if we look at the Bible, the majority of idols are actually God statues. They're God statues. They're gods that the Israelites have made. They're made of like stone. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but for example, like the golden calf, for example, or Baal, for example, still exists till now. Do you get? Like, that's it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that started off as a, let's say, idol, but out of it they have conjured all sorts of things.
Of course, but naturally, like, it could just be powerless. like this thing that you are worshipping, it could just be a powerless statue that you guys worship, but it's nothing. Do you get me? And the reason why so it can interlink, but there's also clear differentiations of the two in regards to, you know how you were saying you don't know why it's different. I think that's one of the reasons why someone might find it different, in that there's one that you feel like is a false god, and there's another which you could believe you're actively calling on the powers of hell. Like, if we use like the more shocking language. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I think that's definitely the perception, and I think it's one of the perceptions that people have been trying their hardest to change more recently. When it's like, like, why has George like got all the negative connotations and all that kind of stuff? And obviously, it's like, sometimes I feel like just saying shut up. Like, why are you asking silly questions? Like, What has George been used for in our history, sort of thing? And why do we all know it that way?
Yeah.
Was it random? We just woke up one day and decided to, because it's a black people thing, or it's an African people thing, or it's a Nigerian people thing, that it's decided to call it evil.
What's kind of so funny? So when I hear people talk about it, it tends to come from people who are not actually. I've heard it from people who are. Don't get twisted. But when I'm hearing it, it's Americans that really talking about it in terms of, like, you guys hate yourselves, and I'm thinking, bro, you're not near the. You get me? You're not near the culture.
But it's just like, fam, sometimes I feel like in this day and age, this whole like doing think pieces and everything like that, sometimes actually, and I'm so sorry that this might sound rude, but just shut up. Like, it's actually just not like sometimes we ask stupid questions, bro. And it's all right to say, no, do you know what it is? Don't get it twisted. I say to everyone, there's no stupid questions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But why has it got negative connotations? Are you joking? Like, do your research about it. Understand how it's been used in the past, bro. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then, understand that, listen, because like when we talk about traditionalists, I'm so glad that they've done that whole traditionalists versus Christians or whatever, because it showed you that, fam, they were talking about they believe.
They believe.
I believe.
Because I'm referencing AFs. But they were talking about how they believed in like human sacrifice or blood sacrifice and these things. Like, brother, I don't care if you are the person that's just using all of this George to create herbs just to heal yourself and XYZ and boom, 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 The problem is, when you start tapping into all of these orishas and all of these different things, like all these different spirits that you're conjuring out that you don't have no idea about, when you start using your crystals and all that kind of stuff, you start tapping into, again, all of these different spirits that you have no idea about, bro, you're opening up yourself to a world that you are not supposed to be opening yourself up to. You get what I'm trying to say? The only way to God and to all of these spiritual gifts and spiritual powers, should I say, is God. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, that's the, through Jesus, that's the only route in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's kind of like, people just ask some silly questions sometimes, and it's like, actually do your research first, because right now you're asking a question that the answer is obvious to everyone, and stop trying to just provoke thought, like, in kind of like a cunning ways to a certain degree. But I think it's all clickbait.
What do you think about that, Ethan?
Funny enough, I always remember the chapter verse where Paul talks about it in 1 Corinthians 8 is a long. It's not long, to be fair. Like, let me quickly read it, just for, alright, cool, because it's directly talking about food sacrificed to idols. So 1 Corinthians 8. It's like, let me skip some verses. So go straight to verse 4. So then, about eating food sacrificed. Look at the version first. Alright, cool. No, you got to be careful, bro.
Before you start saying like breath.
Fam, serve it that, right? You don't see different people out there creating different versions of that. It's fam. We read it.
It's a Gen Z Bible one,
Anyway. So then, about eating food sacrificed to idols. We know that an idol is nothing at all in the world, and that there's no God but one. For even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or earth, as indeed there are many gods and many lords, yet for us there's but one God, the Father, from whom all things came and from whom we live. And there's but one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom all things came and through whom we live. But not everyone possesses this knowledge. Some people are still so accustomed to idols that when they eat sacrificial food, they think of it as having been sacrificed to a god. And since their conscience is weak, it is defiled. But food does not bring us near to God. We are no worse if we do not eat it, and no better if we do. Be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. For if someone with a weak conscience sees you, with all your knowledge, eating in an idol's temple, won't that person be emboldened to eat what is sacrificed to idols? So this weak brother or sister for whom Christ died is destroyed by your knowledge. And then it goes, and then I guess the last verse, which is important, is, therefore, if what I eat causes my brother or sister to fall into sin, I will never eat meat again, so that I will not cause them to fail. And I guess I say that as context to, if we're talking about, because I guess celebrating, and we're talking about like iftar and
what's that, brother?
We're talking about breaking bread to celebrate. I don't think the eating of the Bible talks about it. That food is nothing to go. Like, do you get me? Like, it's nothing. Like, you can eat this food, and we believe that you pray over that food. It's blessed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I think the biggest question is about the celebration and what that means. So, personally, I guess my personal view on it is, I think celebrating it is a strong word. We shouldn't be celebrating
another God.
Yeah, anything to do with another God, right? And I guess the question is, what do we mean by celebrating? Do you get me? That's going to be the next one.
You might have another thing of just going around to eat.
And again, I wouldn't necessarily call going like
to eat, actually
going to eat
now
celebrating per se.
Now,
do you get me?
You're on the big end of the south side. You're listening to Bible, and Banter.